Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the February PC here at Maitland. I'm Jackson. This is Landon. You know the drill.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, and we are heading into our top 8, our top cut here at the PC.
Oh,
It's a stacked top
it's
cut.
very stacked. It's oh, I looked at the top cut first, and let's talk about these players. Riley Factor, we've talked about him. He's amazing. Amazing. He's a multi-regional winner. I don't even five-time regional champion, and Janice is a top Florida player like we've discussed before. She's genuinely amazing in the Florida community.
And she's got some good some good results at regionals as well. I believe her best finish is top 16. Georgia 2017. So it's been a little bit, but she's still around.
She's been around for a while. She knows her way around the battlefield. And then we have Patrick Connors, who I believe his best is top 64, and Luis Diaz I believe is also the same situation. Brady Smith, a 3-time regional champion. Matthew Laughlin, I believe his best finish was top 8 at a regional. I don't know which regional it is, but what? Daytona 2019. Then we have Hunter, who's also I believe has top 8 a regional, and Robert, who hasn't been around too long in the VGC community, but I think his lowest has been 100.
Top
128. Yeah.
Top 128 at a regional.
They're all great players. Like it's genuinely insane how we have 8 of the best players in Florida. Like obviously they're going to be 8 of the best players here, but these are genuinely some of the most amazing players that we have ever had here.
Yeah, absolutely. And our first top cut match is going to be Matthew Laughlin versus Brady Smith. Brady, I believe, is the only person in our top cut except Lewis to have not been on stream yet, and his team is a doozy. Kamoa, Tinglu, Porygon 2.
Yeah.
It's a crazy one.
It's definitely a crazy one. I mean, everyone knows Porygon 2 is... that thing's going to live for a while. It's going to live for a while, and everyone knows Kamo and how, like, it does those iron defense setups. And, you know, Brady's got a few unique picks on his team. Matthew is running a very, very standard, like, balanced core team. He's running Flutter Mane, Qianpao, Incineroar, Moongus, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Raging Bull. All top 12 Pokemon. And here we're looking at Brady Smith's, his accomplishments. He went 5-1 today. He's only won one. He's only lost one set today. At San Antonio, in this season, he got top 16. At 2022 Worlds, he got top 32. 2020 OCIC, he got top 8, and 2020 he was the Daytona Regional Champion. He's a 3-time regional champion. He knows what he's doing. He's one of the best players here.
Absolutely, and his team is, like we've stated, it's a doozy. Standard Amoonguss with Rocky Helmet.
He's waving at the camera. Hi, Brady.
Hello. We've got Standard Amoonguss. We've got Choice Specs Goldengo with Nasty Plot still, because you're probably planning on tricking that away.
Yep, and Choice Specs with the Nasty Plot. That's not something you see too often, but it's still good. You know, if you're getting rid of those Choice Specs, then you know, you might as well get some special attack up.
You might as well get that boost, right?
You might as well get that boost back plus some. Isn't that? It's even better.
Yeah.
Matthew Laughlin, like we said, he was a top 8 in 2019 Daytona Regionals. He went 4-2 today. Him and Brady actually went against each other in Swiss today, and I believe Matthew lost. I think it was 2-1 loss. It was very close. But like we said, he's running something very standard. But you know, we've seen the teams like this 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's nothing too crazy. But Fluttermane and Qianpao are going to prove very pivotal in this match. Chen Pao threatens this Komao if it terras. Fluttermane threatens it if it doesn't, and it can also perish Song to just get it off the field. I think those both of those are very key. Both of those are very key to taking down Brady's central strategy.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good top 8 match. It's gonna be insane. Like, all of these top 8 players are amazing, and especially these 2 players here. I mean, we have a 3-time regional champion and a past top 8 player at Daytona Regional, but they've all played great today. I mean, these 2 players played against each other, so it's not like they're going in with any surprises. This is a match they've already done, but they've had time to think about this situation, perhaps plan future scenarios in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Komao is kind of the linchpin here, because if Matthew can get rid of it, then all fine and dandy. If he can't get rid of it, then Brady's gonna win.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of what it comes down to here.
that Gholdengo's it's nasty.
Gholdengo is nasty as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all of these Pokemon that Brady has, like, four of them are just very hard to remove and just good Pokemon, being Komao, Gholdengo, Tinglu, and Porygon 2. Everyone knows how hard Porygon 2
You're
is
saying
to remove.
Amoonguss isn't hard to take down.
Hey, listen. It is hard to take down, but you know, it's counterplay that there is counterplay that people are used to.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're used to it at this point, but yes, doesn't mean it's not bad.
We're about to go
we're
to
getting
in the
in
leads
the
of
Top
our
Cut.
game 1 of Top Cut, and so we have Incineroar and Amoonguss from Brady's side, and Incineroar and Fluttermane from Matt's side, and I mean, these are pretty good Pokemon, you know? It's like
Yeah, we've seen. Yeah, Amoonguss Incineroar has been something that's been picking up as of late. It's a very strong balance core. It's giving you a lot of leeway to just do the things that you need it to be doing.
absolutely.
And then Fluttermane is, we've got the Incineroar on the other side, and Fluttermane is the cannon that it's always been.
Oh yeah, you know how Fluttermane is.
Yep, absolutely. I'm interested to see how these Incineroar are going to pivot out as Fluttermane pivots out.
That's
For
true.
Matthew's side, we're going to see the Ogerpon come in. The Ogerpon is going to immediately threaten down this Incineroar without the Intimidate, and Amoonguss gets faked out, but it's also not going to be able to threaten this Matthew's Ogerpon. Parting shot from the Incin into the opposing Incin from Brady. Gonna allow Brady to reposition a little bit, perhaps get this Komao in for free. That would be.
If that Komao comes in, it's in a pretty.
It's in a
it's
very
a
good,
pretty
it's in
nice
a,
spot.
It's in a very good position if it comes in right here.
Onomatopoeia the Lively.
That
That's
is the
Komao.
That
All
is
right.
the Komao, and the Amoonguss is going to flinch.
This Komao is just in such a good scenario. It's real, like, I mean, come on. It's like a Dragon type against the Fire, Water, Grass, and that's it. Like, come on. That's just too good for Brady right now.
Yeah, especially because it's so physically defensive into these 2 physically defensive Mons. Though we do have to be careful because Matthew has the pieces to take out this Komao as we see Ogerpon pivot out into the Fluttermane. The Fluttermane's going to be able to threaten it for super effective damage, and it's not going to care about the these Iron Defense boosts.
No, not at all. And here's the thing with Fluttermane and Amoonguss they might have some interaction. Amoonguss can actually spore onto that Fluttermane. Not if that Ogerpon comes in with the Follow Me though. So seeing as Fluttermane is the biggest threat for that. Oh.
And the Spore goes into the Incineroar slot. The Incineroar is safety goggles. He called the switch out. He did not call the switch out correctly. The Ogerpon comes in for free. And this Ogerpon, this Komao is definitely in a good spot. It would be in a good spot if this Fluttermane didn't just have the capabilities of blowing it up.
That's certainly one way to put it.
Yeah, Komo's going to go for a Protect here, try and keep itself safe, try and preserve that Terra for as long as it can. A double Protect just to keep this Amoonguss safe as well, trying to scout out what Matthew's going to lock into. Seeing that Moonblast, going to target into the Amoonguss slot, trying to get it off the field, trying to put a little bit of pressure on it, and Ivy Cudgel comes out as well, also into this Amoonguss. So Matthew seemed to have called the Protect on this Komao, I think he understands that it's the prime piece. It's the crown jewel of Brady's strategy. If he wants to win this game, he has to get it off the field, and knowing that he can pivot around it. As we see another pivot out from Fluttermane, we have yet to see an attack. I believe we have yet to see an actual attack land.
Like, the only
for
attack that
meaningful damage.
landed was fake out, but that's not really much damage.
Yeah, and the Rocky Helmet did more damage in return. We get
Exactly.
another
It's really just, there's been no damage.
Yeah,
Brady going for the Terra on what Pokemon, though, is the thing.
the
Onto
Como-O.
that Kommo-o. See, it's definitely an interesting play because there was that option for a Rage Powder on the Amoonguss, but you know, he might be going for that Terra to get that boost on an Iron Head.
Oh, body press.
Body press
into the
onto
Ogerpon.
the Ogerpon.
Not going to do any damage. Chips the Como-O a little bit, and the Spore is going to come out and not affect the Incineroar. Again, another masterful switch from Matthew.
These are so much. This is just such great pivoting from the players. Like,
Yeah, Brady's trying to get his piece in, and Brady's trying to get his piece in safely, and Matthew's trying to get his pieces in as cleanly as he can as well. Brady's got the pieces in already, but Matthew's trying to make sure that he's got the right piece in at the right time. As we see a pivot from Brady now, switching the Amoonguss out into the Incineroar, get an Intimidate down on this Ogerpon, get an Intimidate down on the opposing Incineroar. The Incineroar threatens the Como as Ogerpon goes for an Ivy Cudgel, does over 50%.
That's a good amount of damage. That body press is
Almost
wow.
to KO. Not quite. Incineroar goes for the parting shot into the opposing Incineroar, going to drop its attack and special attack, and again, allow Matthew to pivot out.
Yep, and see, Matthew has that option to switch into Fluttermane, but here's the thing. We also see that Chien-Pao in the back. That might be good for Matthew here, considering it has that Sacred Sword.
It's under threat of this fake out, but
it is. That is true.
it is currently his best option into this Como.
It really is, and he also does have that Protect as an option to scout out the fake out.
As we see the leftovers recovering it just a little bit, undoing the spiky shield damage that it took previously. This could be a pivotal turn.
It definitely could be.
Yeah, we see the Incineroar is at low health. Another attack from Ogerpon will probably just take it out, but this Ogerpon is at such low health that Matthew may feel the need to preserve it. And this Como is under massive threat from this Chien-Pao. But if Brady can perhaps get an Intimidate or a Parting Shot down, then that would help nullify the that would help reduce the damage that this Chien-Pao is doing, because the Sacred Sword will, of course, ignore the defense boosts, and it's going to be hitting it for super effective. So it's in this is volatile, is what I'm trying to say. This is a very volatile
Matthew
position.
definitely has options into the Como-o, but the Como-o definitely does exert a lot of pressure, because realistically, he has two Pokemon that love to go against it. Well, not love to go against it, but Como would not like to go against. Oh, but we see the Golden Go.
Chien-Pao goes for Protect. Oh, what is this Como-o go for? If it goes for Body Press, it's going to fail.
It's going to fail.
Into the Fluttermane slot.
Yep. And the question is, what will Matthew go for on this turn? Because realistically, he can go for the
He could go
Shadow Ball onto either the Como-o or the Golden Go.
He could very safely in this position go for Shadow Ball, Sacred Sword, just double target across the field and see what happens. But it looks like he's going to be doing something a little bit different. But this Golden Go has come in, and it's just going to pivot right back out.
Yep, Matthew
Reposturing.
double targeted, possibly to scout out some damage.
Get this Incin back in. Dropping an Intimidate down on that Chien-Pao, allowing this Como-o to perhaps live a Sacred Sword. Shadow Ball comes out, does not KO this Incineroar. Icicle Crash.
How will this Icicle Crash do?
It KOs the Incineroar. So Brady is down a piece. He's down perhaps his most pivotal piece in trying to deal with this Chien-Pao. And we get an Iron Head. How much is this going to do into this Fluttermane? It doesn't even KO.
It doesn't even KO because of the two drops from the Intimidates.
Intimidate and Parting Shot have really wrecked it down. Amoonguss comes in, but Amoonguss is also under fire because of this Shen Pao can hit it for super effective. Though it has now Shen Pao as the most pivotal piece here has to start picking its targets.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really just difficult for Brady in this situation because Matthew has pivoted so well in these past turns. Taking out that Incineroar was very crucial because it was the biggest way of dropping damage onto that Shen Pao. And Shen Pao does have -1 attack, but it's still doing very well.
It's still going to be doing a lot of damage into this Como, that's for sure. And we're going to see the terastallization from Matthew now, presumably into that Shen Pao.
It's going to be on that Shen Pao because of that, the switch.
Yeah, can't happen. Terra Ghost going to keep this Shen Pao safe from the body press and also from this Iron Head that's coming out. Icicle Crash into the Amoonguss. That does a
lot of damage.
Body press into the Incineroar, calls the switch, gets it off the field.
Great play on Brady's part. And it's just, oh, the flinch! Wow.
And the flinch from the Icicle Crash.
If he didn't flinch, that a spore could have been huge.
Yeah, but instead, we get to see this.
We do get to see the Ogerpon against the Amoonguss and Kamo because of the fact that the redirection Ogerpon does support is very important here because of the fact that it's just so good.
Yeah, it's gonna redirect these spores. It's gonna redirect these potential Iron Heads. And given how much attack drops this Como has received, it might even take the Ogerpon might even take the Iron Head.
Oh, the Ogerpon could definitely take the Iron Head considering the resistance and I can't think of words.
Yeah.
And the attack drops. There we go.
Ogerpon, as Amoonguss is going to pivot out into this Golden Go, try and keep
the Sacred Sword calling it does a decent amount of damage, but that attack drop is very bad for Matthew,
critical hit.
No critical hit.
Iron Head comes out.
How much damage is it going to do?
Probably not a lot. It does
almost nothing to that Shen Pao. Yeah. And Shen Pao,
yeah, we have seen
it's a very frail Pokemon.
Yeah, we have seen some masterful pivoting from Matthew. Brady has the option. Now has this option of clicking the Make It Rain button from this Golden Go and perhaps picking up a double KO. But if Matthew calls this, it's going to be a massive swing here.
This turn is very pivotal in this game because both players have 3 Pokemon. They don't have their Intimidators on the board at all, but they are just in such a close position because Brady has his main piece being Kamo, and Matthew has his 2 pieces that are able to counter it being Shen Pao and Flutter Mane. And it
Golden Go takes a lot from that. But yes, these are a pivotal couple of turns as Matthew trades a whole lot of damage on Golden Go for a little bit of damage on Ogerpon. It does result in a KO, but this Golden Go is now has the special attack drop, and Body Press comes out from the Como into this protecting Shen Pao. We have hit the end game. Como is low on HP, Golden Go is low on HP, Shen Pao has its sash broken.
Como honestly isn't able to do much here because of the fact that it really can only Iron Head to attack. It can't hit with Body Press.
No, it can no longer hit with Body Press.
It's -3 attack.
Yes, all of those Body Press boosts ain't going to help you against Sacred Sword and Flutter Mane.
Not at all, and honestly, I think this might be a game 1 for Matthew.
Yeah, like
it's just he's in such a good position with 2 very fast Pokemon.
Yes, the path to victory here for Matthew is very clear. You get rid of the Golden Go, and then you get rid of the Golden Go and Shen Pao, both of which are at low health. Oh,
he switched the Golden Go, but we saw Matthew's play. He called the switch perfectly, and let's just see how much this does.
Shadow Ball into the Como. It's going to barely survive.
Barely survive, but
Icicle
the Icicle Crash
into the Amoonguss. Amoonguss also barely survives.
Oh my gosh!
And Iron Head comes out. If this is into the Flutter Mane,
how much damage does it do?
It KOs.
It KOs.
It picks up from here thanks to the Sword of Ruin. And now it's 3 against 1, but this Como is still in a very good position.
I wouldn't say it's in too good of a position because it can't really do too much damage if we really think about it.
But there's not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of damage left to be done.
That's definitely fair. I'll agree with that. It's just amazing how Xianpao is able to put so much pressure just by itself in this situation, because all of the Pokemon on Brady's side of the field are threatened by Xianpao.
Yeah, because two are all hit for super effective at this point, and they're all low health.
Here's the thing I'm thinking right now. This Gholdengo can trick for free, basically.
It could, yes, it could, and that could lock. That would prevent Matthew from That would prevent Matthew from hitting the super effective button into at least one of these Pokemon.
Yep, and Matthew is just
Matthew deliberating here. Brady with both of these trainers with their back against the wall. Rage Powder comes out. It's going to redirect all attacks from this Xianpao into the Amoonguss. Xianpao went for the Sucker Punch. It's going to fail. What did this Gholdengo do?
If it went for a trick, that's a sealed game.
Shadow Ball comes
Shadow
out.
Ball, that might be enough on its own. That's definitely going to be enough. Yep.
Terra Ghost, I forgot about the Terra Ghost for despite it being very prominently on the screen.
Yeah.
And from the jaws of defeat, Brady Smith is going to take our game 1. What a game! What a great way to start.
That was a great game. I know Brady ended the game with 3 Pokemon, but that was still incredibly close. That was so close.
There was so little HP left. There was like less than 1 full health bar left between all 3 of his Pokemon remaining.
Exactly. It's just, it was ridiculously close. Even though Brady had 3 Pokemon, it's I don't know, man. It's still, this was a tense game.
Yep, absolutely. And we were talking about Como being that pivotal piece, but Como was more like it was taking all of it didn't get targeted all that much, really. Like it took like 1 or 2 hits, and it was kind of just sat there for a while.
It was kind of like a sitting duck. We thought Como would be very pivotal to the game, and while it did, like it was almost just like it was like a red herring. It's like you thought it was going to be something important. You thought it was going to be something that you have to get rid of immediately, but it wasn't. It really was just something that you were able to deal with later. So once Matthew realized that, it was too late because Brady was just in too good of a situation.
Yeah, Brady had too many pieces left as he was very slowly taking out all of Matthew's pieces, 2-hit KOing or even 3-hit KOing them just to get them in, just to try and get them off the field. As Matthew was still trying to posture and taking out this Como, and this Como just, like we said, it just kind of sat on the field and just prevented Matthew from taking that final KO. Those intimidates, like cycling the intimidates onto Como seemed like such a good idea because it saved the Flutter Mane, it prevented the Xianpao from taking almost any damage, but it just let this Como just sit there, and it wasn't getting knocked out. It wasn't taking any KOs.
Going into game 2,
let's
let's see the leads, and it's Como and Incineroar versus Incineroar and Ogerpon. Incineroar was very important in the early game on game 1, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is the same way again.
Absolutely. We saw this Como put in a whole lot of work last game, even if it didn't do a whole lot of damage. It had a very strong field presence, and we're going to see if Matthew can handle it. Matthew can perhaps handle it better this game as we see the Ogerpon pivot out.
Ogerpon is switching out into the Flutter Mane. Flutter Mane will put a lot of pressure early on to this Como. But the Incineroar is also switching out. What is it switching out into? It's switching out into the Amoonguss.
And this fake out is going to go into the Como. Prevented from moving this turn with the leftovers. That'll probably just be a burnt turn. But both players have repositioned, and fake out is now off the table.
Yeah, it really is just... Brady's really just in a solid position in general because of the fact that Amoonguss came in with a Spore. It's just... He's just in too good of a position right now to be worried.
Yeah, I mean, this Flutter Mane is definitely threatening this Como for a whole lot of damage, and that is very clear. But we saw what happened last game is that Brady protected and Matthew called it. Do Brady or Matthew call this again?
That is true. Like, because calling protects, that it may just be one turn, but one turn can change the entire course of the game. And so calling a protect it's especially important because a Pokemon is sitting there trying to protect itself from a potential KO. But if you're already not going to be hurt that much, then, well, what's the point? You know, it's like...
Yeah,
i-
it's
if
all
you're
about
not-
damage
i-
mitigation.
Exactly.
We see this Como Terrastalize to Steel getting out of that Fairy Weakness as Fluttermane just clicks the Shadow Ball. Doesn't care about the Terra Steel as Amoonguss takes almost 50% and gets the special defense drop. That could matter later. Iron Defense comes out from this Como, getting it that +2 in defense and letting these body presses start to add up. But this Flare Blitz from Incineroar.
How much does it do onto that Amoonguss?
Amoonguss
Oh, it
survives.
barely survives.
Amoonguss
And that's going to
survives
be very crucial as Brady's going to be able to get the Spore
into the
onto that
Fluttermane.
Fluttermane. Wow, it's not looking too good for Matthew in the early game, but
Brady's got the both of these trainers still have the pieces left to win this game.
Oh, of course. They're both still in the early game. Anything can happen, but that definitely was a turn that Matthew did not want to occur.
I think he was expecting the Amoonguss to go down there, and Amoonguss just proving again why it has been a threat in VGC ever since its introduction.
Oh,
As
absolutely.
as it switches out to try and get some Regenerator health back.
Yep. And then here comes the other Incineroar, getting Intimidate on both Incineroar and Ogerpon. That's just insanely good for Brady right now.
Matthew's going to commit his Terra, committing to this Incineroar. Incineroar is this Terra Ghost, going to allow it to be immune to these body presses, which KO'd it last game, and it's going to allow it to stay completely safe from this Como.
Just like you said, it doesn't affect the Incineroar. The Incineroar is going to go for a parting shot onto that Combo to reduce those Iron Head attacks, so that potentially that Fluttermane, if it wakes up later, will be in a much better position.
Yep, we saw how little it was doing. We saw how little the Iron Head did earlier after all of those drops. Shenpao comes on and hits the field, and again it starts to threaten with that Sacred Sword, but now it's under threat from these body presses, and the Terra is no longer available.
That is true, and even though even though the Incineroar is already on the field and Intimidator was already used, they can still use Parting Shot, and Parting Shot getting that damage. Oh, don't even have to worry about that. It's just manual switch itself. Going back into the Amoonguss. Oh, we've seen how Amoonguss has been pivotal this entire game so far.
Shenpao going for the Protect. What does this Ogerpon do? Ivy Cudgel into the Como.
Does he get the
Fishing
critical
for a
hit?
crit.
Oh,
He
it
gets
does!
He gets it. That's a lot of damage, and Body Press goes
into the Shenpao. This is a great... that was a very good turn for Matthew.
Yep, and it might even be in range of a double up now, this Como, which again puts you in this position of do you protect or not? Because Matthew has been playing as though Brady's going to protect every single turn, for the most part, and then doubling into the Como after it doesn't. So it's just a very dangerous game that both of these trainers are playing.
Yeah, both of them are playing extremely risky, but seeing as how we're in the top 8 and we're at the point where these decisions matter the most, because once you lose, you're out. It's not like Swiss, you don't keep on playing. Once you lose, you're out. This is where everything matters the most.
As we see, we see the Incineroar come back in to get another Intimidate down on this Como.
Also possibly trying to get a prediction on the Body Press. Will it work is the question.
Incineroar switches back in for Brady. Gets the Intimidate down on the Incineroar and the Ogerpon. We saw that the Ogerpon got the crit last time. Can it get it again?
If it can get it again, that Combo will knock out. Oh,
it does not get it. Goes down. Body
press
press into the Incineroar
into the
slot.
Incineroar.
And the Incineroar, being Terra Ghost, does not take any damage from that attack. And now this Como has once again been on this field for a very long time and has not actually done a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, it's... I mean... This is definitely a game 2. This is a very interesting game 2. If this goes into a game 3, oh, it's gonna be insane. Like,
We will have also likely been here a while.
oh yeah.
So we see both Incineroars have the fake out pressure down. We see that the Ogerpon is once again the main form of offense here, but it could pivot out. We know the Como is at +2 and at +2 defense and probably -3 or 4 attack at this point. Fluttermane's going to switch in now, and it is not threatened by this Como in the slightest, even though it is asleep.
Yeah, wow, it's just a free switch in for Matthew right now. Getting that fake out onto Brady's Incineroar with critical hit. Just sure, why not? But Matthew's in a decent position. His Sword of Ruin isn't going to work against him in this case. It worked against him last time as the Iron Heads were all hit under Sword of Ruin. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Like we see here, the attack is -3. That might do less than half because the Sword of Ruin isn't even on the field.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one, and Fluttermane has yet to burn its first turn of sleep, so no matter what, it's going to be staying put this turn.
Yep.
Fluttermane takes its first turn of sleep. We're going to see the Como go for the Iron Head. It's at -3. How much does this do to the Fluttermane? It's going to do less than 50%.
Wow, that's like a third of its health.
Knockoff from the Incineroar
Whoa!
KOs Matthew's Incineroar with a critical hit. I don't think Brady's Incin Brady's Incin did not have an Intimidate down on it, right?
I do not think it did. No.
So it's hard to see.
It's hard to say if that crit mattered, but Incineroar is a very defensive Pokemon, so it genuinely could have. But now we're switching into, like we said before, Chien-Pao and Fluttermane are the two biggest threats for that Kommo-o. And so,
what the heck?
We're
seeing some
on?
kind of. We're seeing some kind of. Sorry, we had some kind of difficulty starting the stream for a minute. We have Chien-Pao Fluttermane against Kommo-o Incineroar with Amoonguss in the back for Brady, and Brady has yet to reveal his final Pokemon. I would assume that it is this. I would presume that it is the Golden Gull once again. But we're going to see Matthew. He needs this Kommo-o off the field. Kommo-o is actually going to switch out, forfeiting its body press boosts and allowing its attack to be reset.
Switching into
to the
that
Amoonguss.
Amoonguss.
Fluttermane takes its second turn of sleep. As this Chien-Pao goes for Sacred Sword into this Amoonguss, doing next to nothing as it breaks its Focus Sash on the Rocky Helmet. What does this Incineroar do?
Does it
Goes
go for a Flare Blitz?
into
There
the
you go.
Chien-Pao. Chien-Pao is going to go down to the Flare Blitz.
Wow.
And Brady has turned this advantage from a 4 against 3 into a 4 against 2.
Wow. Brady's in just such a solid position right now. Like, yes, the Kommo-o is out and it doesn't have its defense boost as it did before, but it's still doing so good. And I believe there's a 33% chance that Fluttermane will stay asleep because it's already had its 2 turns of sleep, so it should be the third turn.
This is its third turn of sleep. Fluttermane needs to wake up this turn if Matthew wants to stay in this game. Brady still has the
And not only in this game, in this tournament.
yes, in this tournament. Brady still has the option to pivot this Kommo-o back in whenever he so chooses. It is no longer threatened by this Chien-Pao. It is no longer threatened by the Incineroar. There is nothing to stop. There is nothing that seriously threatens this Kommo-o from Matthew's side, especially if Matthew is forced to lock into. Especially if Matthew locks into Moonblast with this Fluttermane, though I don't see why you would, knowing that the Kommo-o is in the back. Incin switches out.
What does it
Switches out
switch
into the
into?
Kommo-o.
It switches into that Kommo-o.
Again, hitting the field. Fluttermane stays asleep for the third turn.
Wow.
Ogerpon gonna go for Ivy Cudgel into this Kommo-o. Critical
Takes it
hit
out with critical
again.
hit. That's this
That could be-
Ogerpon. These crits are putting in work.
These
These crits are
definitely
putting in work.
But now Brady is down. Brady's down to 3 Pokemon.
Brady used a spore,
Spore
anticipating the wake up.
And Fluttermane is going to stay asleep. But it will guaranteed wake up this turn as Incineroar comes out, drops an Intimidate down onto this Ogerpon. Fluttermane probably doesn't care if that's being intimidated in the slightest.
Oh, not at all. But I don't imagine Fluttermane being very happy right here because it's going to be put right back to sleep because of this fake out and spore. And I honestly, even with the choice specs and Shadow Ball, I don't think this Fluttermane's going to be taking out that Amoonguss.
Yeah, Amoonguss is a very bulky Pokemon. Fluttermane is a very offensive one. Going to see the Shadow Ball.
How much does it do?
It
Oh, wow!
Ogerpon flinches from the fake out, and this Spore once again lands into the Fluttermane.
That is
Brady has trained his Pokemon very well. We have seen several clutch survivals this set already. I have
so
to imagine
many.
they have saved him throughout the rest of the tournament as well.
It's been genuinely insane. That survival might have been what caused Brady to win this match. Switching out Amoonguss into Ting Lu
Going to prevent this, going to mean that this Flutter Mane is doing next to no damage. Once again, Flutter Mane is fast asleep still. This Ogerpon going to go for the Ivy Cudgel into the Incineroar. Another crit would come in handy, and it almost gets the KO.
It almost gets the
again
KO.
survives. Flare Blitz comes out into the Flutter Mane. Flutter Mane goes down. It is Ogre, and Flare Blitz recoil will take out this Incineroar on Brady's side. It is Ogerpon against Amoonguss and Ting Lu.
With the pollen,
This is the close one.
With the pollen puffs and the Ting Lu. Ting Lu's a very bulky Pokemon. I imagine the only way is a high roll crit on Ting Lu, but even so, I don't think Ting Lu is going to be able to take it out in one shot.
Yeah, and even so, Amoonguss potentially wins the 1v1 versus this Ogerpon because it resists both of its attacks, and the Pollen Puff will be able to hit this Ogerpon for super effective damage. We see a Spiky Shield come out, just trying to stall a turn and potentially get some chip onto this Ting Lu. Throat Chop into the Ogerpon is going to get a little bit of chip onto this Ogerpon. Pollen Puff again will target into the Spiky Shield. No recoil this time, but
I imagine the only thing you gotta hope for is a crit. Ivy Cudgel. Does it get it?
Does it get it? It does not get it.
No, it does not get its crit.
Throat
and
Chop going to come out from the Ting Lu. Does a
and-
good chunk of
it
damage.
does such a good amount of damage, and it
Pollen
looks
Puff comes
like
out. Pollen Puff does not KO, but another attack from either of these Pokemon will pick up this Ogerpon. The Horn Leech going to come out.
if the
from this
Horn Leech gets a crit, I don't imagine it happening, but if it
No,
did,
it
that would've won.
survives. Ting Lu survives. We'll get a double attack into this Ogerpon.
Yep, and it looks like that is the game and the tournament
Not
for
the
Matthew.
tournament. Yeah, the tournament for Matthew, not the tournament for Brady.
Yeah.
We see a Terra Blast and Pollen Puff. That KOs. And Ogerpon goes down. Matthew Laughlin is eliminated. And Brady Smith moves on to your top 4 at the
I mean,
February PC. here
Even
at
though
Gateway.
that was only 2 games, that felt very long. that was insane.
That was a very long game, and I think it was masterful positioning from both players. We saw Matthew trying desperately to make sure that this Como was a non-factor in these games, but by attempting to make it a non-factor, it made it the most pivotal piece in the entire game.
It's just Kama 01 by doing nothing. It's like Luigi and Mario Party.
It forced respect. It forced an immense amount of respect from Matthew's
oh my
team.
gosh.
Because Matthew like we said, Matthew had to either take it out with the Flutter Mane or take it out with the Shenpao, and the only way and Shenpao wasn't even a one-hit KO. So you had to,
It's crazy how the one to take it out wasn't either of those two. It was Ogerpon. Ogerpon with the crit and then a crit again. It was just
Yeah, I failed to mention Ogerpon, but turns out I should have.
yeah. We didn't think Ogerpon has that higher crit chance. But usually you want to rely more on the reliable, guaranteed, this will work more often. But
The Riley Factura method.
yeah. I mean, great top 8 round. Like,
Yeah,
it's
great.
It's
Absolutely fantastic top 8 round. Masterful positioning again from both sides. That has been our top 8 coverage here at the Maitland PC in February. We're going to cut to a short break, and we'll be back with your top 4. I'll see you guys on the other side.